Hello and welcome to the first ever Able Cup featuring Fortnite, organized by Able Esports in collaboration with Jinx Esports TV Canada and eFuse. I'm your host and one of your casters, PookieFace_, and I'm joined by the one, the only, John Pritchard.
Yes, I'm here. We are excited to say the least. It's been a long time coming that the Able Cup has finally reached its conclusion, or should I say shall reach its conclusion, that being tonight in the grand finals. We have seen two amazing open qualifier events. We've seen lots of high kill victory royales. We've even had a few last minute replacement teams come into the mix as wildcards as well. So this event's going to have it all, and man, I am excited to kick things off.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. And that's what you like to see at the very last minute. You know, a few teams coming in to shake things up. We saw a ton of teams performing really well over the past couple of weeks. We held two open qualifiers and we saw some fire teams coming out of both of those days. Now, John, what is one of the standout moments over the qualifiers that took place over the past couple of weeks?
I think you've got to definitely take a look at the boys from MIH. I think they performed very, very well. I believe their team name is down as the Crudies. I'm just trying to look to my right here as the Crodies. Yeah. That being Trey, Snow, and Dev. Them three played it fantastically well in our first open qualifier, and then I think it was Thatch and his squad as well, who played very well in the second qualifiers. They kind of come in and pretty much replicated what we saw from MIH in the first qualifier. So I'm really excited to see those teams sort of match up in those build fights and box fights later on in the event, where sort of that crunch time happens, you know, and we're getting down to the business end of the competition.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. It is going to be a clash of the clans today. Those two teams are definitely going to be bringing the heat. But for those of you who missed the qualifiers, or maybe just want a little bit more information regarding how today's games are going to play out, John, why don't you roll through the format of today's games for our viewers?
Yeah, so if you guys have watched the first qualifier as well as the second one, we've got exactly the same format for you guys. You can see if you take a victory royale, you are guaranteed at least 25 placement points from the game. If you finish in second, we have got 20 points for you. Third place is 16 points. And you can see all the points break down through from third straight through to 17th being 1 point only. But not only do you get points per placement, you get points per elimination and kill as well, guys. You get 1 elimination per kill. I think we saw a 21 kill game, I think it was, from MIH and the Crodies, which was like a 44 point game or something like that, which was absolutely insane in our first qualifier. So no doubt we're going to see a lot of points be put on the board here, Pooks, just from elimination purposes.
Yeah, and you know, those two teams that we've been talking about and kind of following the storylines of each of them, both of them proved that they are more than able to put up 40, 45 point games pretty consistently. So hopefully the other teams today have certainly brought their A game, because they're going to need it. Now, not only are we here for placement and points and to have fun, but there is a little bit of prize money on the line. So why don't we just take a quick look at that? So if you become the winner of the first ever Able Cup, you're going to be taking home $450 for your squad. Second place is getting $300, third is $150, fourth is $90, and fifth is $10. And you know what? That fifth place, what I would be doing is going to buy myself some coffee, regrouping, and then using that caffeine to fuel myself going forward. But that is kind of what we're doing today. So now you guys all have an idea of what's going on. I know that the players are biting at the bit to just get in there. I can hear them. They're on the battle bus and they're chattering back and forth. We've got that good old banter back and forth between these teams. John, now last week when we did the second round of qualifiers, the games are going a little bit slower. So, you know, we didn't see as many teams in the lobbies, but in the first week of qualifiers, we saw that consistent Fortnite gameplay where it was a lot of slow play until about mid-end game, and then things just all came to a head and we saw the teams clashing right up until top 10 teams really then using that caffeine to fuel myself going forward. But that is kind of what we're doing today. So now you guys all have an idea of what's going on. I know that the players are biting at the bit to just get in there. I can hear them. They're on the battle bus and they're chattering back and forth. We've got that good old banter back and forth between these teams. John, now last week when we did the second round of qualifiers, the games were going a little bit slower. So, we didn't see as many teams in the lobbies, but in the first week of qualifiers, we saw that consistent Fortnite gameplay where it was a lot of slow play until about mid-end game, and then things just all came to a head, and we saw the teams clashing right up until top 10 teams, really. Do you expect the games to kind of go the same way today as we saw in week one of the qualifiers?
I think compared to the Fortnite World Cup being like $1 million grand prize, but this could be the first step. This is them investing in a new graphics card or a new motherboard or PC part for their setup at home, right? That can take their gameplay to the next level. So no doubt we're going to see these guys really playing slow, really playing for that end game and those final elimination points and try to put as many placement points on the board as possible.
Yeah, and if this is your big first event, you certainly want to perform well, especially like you said, there's a massive audience watching today. But just like that, I don't know if you can hear that or not, but we are about to board the battle bus. And let's see what these guys can do. Now, we are going to be playing a bunch of games today. It's not just going to be this one game. So we're going to have a bunch of games that are going to be played. So we talked a little bit about this in the past couple of qualifiers, John. Nerves are going to be running a little bit higher today. This isn't a qualifier anymore. This is the main event. This is what you've been practicing for the past couple of weeks. If nerves are a factor and if you're kind of letting them get the best of you, then how do you kind of combat that? What is something that you could impart to these players? A little piece of wisdom that you could give them, I guess you could say.
Honestly, everything goes out the window until you start playing for money and you're on TV. Let me tell you that right now. It doesn't matter how much you prepare for the game. It doesn't matter how many ranked games or arena scrims or even cash cups, that aren't being broadcast you play. You will not know how you're going to cope with the pressure until, you are actually in that situation. So, speaking of a situation you don't want to be in, that's going to be Glacity's squad who are getting shot at right now. I do believe it's Power or Paula, should I say, who's going to take some shots on this. And we're going to actually see the first sort of engagement throughout our first match in the grand finals here.
Yeah, you can see Yan on keys earlier with his squad over by the hills, over by Craggy Cliffs. They engaged and then disengaged relatively quickly. It looks like they're playing pretty passively for today, but you can see Mizem here. He's actually built up and tried to get a little bit of high ground vantage points so you could see his enemies, but they're going to have to be very cognizant of the people that may actually be listening to these shots ringing out and trying to third party. That's another advantage actually of the bow. It is pretty silent, so you can take shots at enemies relatively undetected and be pretty sneaky and stealthy. Unfortunately, with the infantry, that is not something that you're going to be able to do, but we've got some smaller engagements, long range engagements kind of ringing out here. And look at Sparky, John. He's caught down in the river there.
Yeah, it does get tagged up by a few shots from Ops. Luckily though, his teammates, the duo that was sat on top of that cliff, do offer some sort of reinforcements and covering fire as Ops gets tagged up a little bit as well. Some crossbow shots coming in from the squad over by the bridge, and nothing too crazy yet, but as I say that, a big crack of the shield down to just 120 odd HP here as the 70 shield does get cracked off. But it wouldn't surprise you if these guys elect to sort of, relocate. But actually, I think they're going to try and focus on that lone player, which I think you said is either Sparky or Spanky. Not too sure how you pronounce his name.
I'm going with Sparky.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Sparky before I get before I get PG strike. We're not past watershed just yet, as we are going to see these players start take these engagements.
Yeah, and I thought that these guys were going to try and, just shoot from a distance. Everyone gets their damage up for Storm Surge eventually. But that's not the case. These guys are full sending it right now. You can see Sparky taking another hit. He's got those fireflies. See the Ops to use them, but you can hear the shots ringing out down below. And he's about to break into the box there. Cracks, but doesn't end up getting it off with the blue tack. He is out of shield and is very, very quickly looking like he is not going to be coming out on top. One of his teammates goes down. He takes yet another shot. He might have to go up build for height and use this medkit. It might be his only way that he can win this engagement. And there it is. He's going to get shot out, though. He hasn't built up high enough. The players on the other team are 100% tracking him, and they know exactly where he is at all times. The low goes down. Unfortunately for him, he will be taken out and sent back to the lobby. I think the biggest thing that these guys have to remember right now is consistency is going to be key. So if you can play pretty consistently and put up some decent damage numbers and get a few